When E.T. was released in 1982, it eventually overtook Star Wars to become the highest-grossing movie of all time, and the Hershey Company saw its profits rise 65% thanks to E.T.'s love of Reese's Pieces. But E.T. wasn't a big action movie or prestige film. At its core, the story is about a young boy going through some of the common experiences of childhood. His parents are separating, he doesn't have a lot of friends, and he's being forced to grow up faster than he feels ready for. But director Steven Spielberg approaches these topics that he experienced himself as a child by asking, what if that boy met an extraterrestrial that was experiencing something similar? What if we used a literal alien to tell a story about feeling alienated? We're talking all about it this week in Caden's Movie Club. Spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen it, beat it. Spielberg's own parents got divorced when he was a teenager, and the theme of broken family relationships has shown up in many of his movies. Another theme that Spielberg seems fascinated with is aliens, and he's even recently made another alien-themed movie that's releasing next month. But what's really interesting is that with all these movies, he's combined those two concepts, broken families and aliens. In Close Encounters, the main character neglects his family after becoming obsessed with aliens. In War of the Worlds, a father is looking after his kids that he has a strained relationship with when aliens attack. In Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones reunites with the woman he loves and discovers a long-lost son. And in E.T., a young boy is adjusting to his parents' separation when he befriends an alien. And this has an even deeper connection to Spielberg's own experience because in the wake of his parents' divorce, he actually had an imaginary friend that was an alien. He said that the alien served as the replacement for the father he felt he'd lost. But E.T. also provides a lot more of the alien's perspective than Spielberg's other movies. The story starts when a spaceship lands on Earth. The aliens seem to be gathering samples of Earth's plants, but one of them wanders off a little too far. A group of humans approach the aliens, so they escape in their ship. And in the process, they are forced to leave one of their own behind. This alien, who we come to know as E.T., has been abandoned and is now all alone on a strange planet. Meanwhile, we get to know Elliot and his family. Elliot's mother and father have recently separated, and the father is in Mexico with a new girlfriend. This has obviously taken a toll on the entire family, but Elliot in particular is really struggling.
All we're trying to say is, maybe you just probably imagined it.
I couldn't have imagined it. Dad would believe me.
On one hand, he's not quite old enough to comprehend the situation as much as his older brother does, but he understands enough to be affected a lot more than their younger sister. He's caught right in the middle where he really misses his dad and takes that frustration out on his mom.
Maybe you ought to call your father and tell him about it.
I can't. He's in Mexico with Sally. Where's Mexico?
It's also clear that Elliot doesn't have a lot of friends. The other kids we meet are all his brother's friends. And all of these experiences are forcing Elliot to grow up.
Damn it, why don't you grow up? Think how other people feel for a change.
These aspects are communicated in really clear ways, so we know exactly what Elliot's dealing with, but they never take over the story. And I think that's because Spielberg wanted to give just enough context that the audience, especially kids who may be going through similar things, could see themselves in Elliot. Not all of us will know what it's like to have divorced parents or to not have friends, but I think most of us have at one point or another known what it's like to feel alienated. To be alienated is to feel isolated or detached. It can come from being lonely or feeling like an outsider. It can feel like you don't connect with the people around you or from the loss of a strong relationship. And so it's no coincidence that when Elliot meets E.T., this little alien has just experienced that same thing.
E.T. Home phone.
E.T. phone home.
As far as we know, E.T.'s parents aren't getting divorced, but he does know what it's like to feel abandoned and alone. And because of this, the two of them form an immediate bond. And that bond is represented in the story by a literal telepathic connection. Elliot can feel what E.T. feels. When E.T. gets scared or excited, Elliot shares that emotion. It's so intense that when E.T. happens to find some beer in the fridge, it has consequences for Elliot at school.
Similarities.
That connection between E.T. and Elliot represents the connection that happens when two alienated people find each other. The differences between Elliot and E.T. don't matter. They are from entirely different worlds, but their experiences have made it so they understand each other completely.
Ouch! It was tea.
And just like most of us will know what it's like to feel alienated, I think most of us have also had moments where we felt this, where despite our differences, we connect with someone because of a specific shared emotion. It's a funny irony that Spielberg uses an alien to highlight a fundamental human experience. But the movie continues to sprinkle moments throughout the story that remind us that Elliot's pain has not gone away, like when he finds his dad's shirt and memories come flooding back, or when E.T. listens to the mom reading Peter Pan to Gertie, a story about a boy who's afraid to grow up. But E.T. has provided Elliot with the hope he needs to set these feelings aside. which is why it's so devastating when that relationship is threatened. When the government finds out where E.T. has been hiding out, they take over the entire house and start studying both E.T. and Elliot. The problem is that E.T. has slowly been getting weaker the longer he's been on Earth. And when the government scientists find him, he's in really bad shape. Because of their connection, that means that as E.T. is dying, so is Elliot.
I think we're dying.
And there comes a moment when E.T. and Elliot communicate so much emotional understanding with only a few words.
Stay with me, Ellie.
As Elliot is begging E.T. to stay with him, E.T. says the same thing back, but he means something different. E.T. realizes he's dying and refuses to bring Elliot with him. When he tells Elliot to stay, he means that Elliot needs to stay here on Earth. So he detaches from their telepathic connection.
They're separating.
Yes,
Boy
definitely
and creature are
separating.
separating. What does that mean?
The boy's coming back. We're losing E.T.
E.T., answer me, please.
But what is the thing that brings E.T. back to life?
E.T. phone home. Home. Phone home. Phone home.
Does this mean they're coming?
Yes.
He knows that his family is coming back to get him. Elliot and the other kids then team up to make sure E.T. reaches the spaceship in time, and we get one of the most iconic scenes of all time. And then we come to the most important scene in the movie. You might think that after all they've been through, E.T. and Elliot might want to stay together, but they don't. Elliot safely delivers E.T. to his spaceship and he leaves Earth. But this is a key aspect of the story. There will be relationships in our lives that are incredibly significant, and the fact that they don't last forever does not demean their impact. E.T. and Elliot met each other at a time in both of their lives when they were alone. They found each other and formed an unbreakable bond. When the time comes for E.T. to leave, it's a signal that it's time for Elliot to move forward as well.
Come.
Stay.
Elliot has reconnected with his mother, he's started to make friends, and he's ready to embrace the process of growing up. And that's all thanks to the time he spent with his friend, even if it was just a short time.
I'll be right here.
Steven Spielberg used an alien to help audiences recognize that as we navigate life, we might sometimes be Elliot. We might feel detached from life and need someone to help us bridge those gaps until we can ground ourselves again. But it also reminds us that at times we might be somebody else's E.T. We might be in need and reach out to someone for help without realizing that our actions might be saving them just as much as they're saving us. And next week, we'll be taking a look at a movie about some other aliens that also want to phone home. And the story also uses the concept of aliens to ask the audience to reconsider real-life situations and dynamics. District 9 was co-written and directed by Neil Blomkamp, who grew up in South Africa during apartheid. That background heavily influenced his short film Alive in Joburg, which told the story of alien refugees living in the city of Johannesburg. This 6-minute short film eventually served as the basis for District 9, which is about a government agency forcibly removing aliens from where they live in Johannesburg to a camp outside of the city.
Agents, open the door, please. Open up. Always hold your badge up. Hello. Okay. This is Wikus van der Merwe from MNU, and we are here to serve you an eviction notice.
Blomkamp uses his own life experience as the foundation for this story, where he replaces human beings with insect-like creatures from space and poses questions about how we treat those we view as different. And here's some questions to keep in mind while you watch. What do you think about the portrayal of the aliens versus the portrayal of humans? Is the story more sympathetic to one over the other? What do you think about Wikus at the beginning of the story? What do you think about Christopher Johnson, the alien in the red vest? Do your opinions change as the movie progresses? Do you think this movie is intended as a direct allegory for apartheid, or a general commentary on xenophobia, or something else? Do you think it's effective in its goal? Why or why not? So let's chat about E.T. in the comments. And even though we normally post Movie Club on Sundays, for just this week we'll actually be posting on Saturday. So I'll see you then to talk about District 9. And if you want to stay in the know about Movie Club, you know where to go.